Hi, Shakti here. Welcome to my channel. I understand, according to astrology, today is one of the auspicious days, or probably the auspicious day in 2026. There are many different views about it, but let me stick to the auspiciousness of today. Today, Venus and Jupiter conjunct on my North Node. So I take it it's a good day for me. And I take this opportunity to launch my model, IACA. You might be wondering, what does it mean, IACA? It's an acronym. I'll get to that in a minute. To give you a brief outline, through life challenges, falling down on my face hundreds of times, only way to go inside and fall to the bottom, rock bottom, and find my way out. To put it in very simple terms, the process I used is what this model is all about. I did not know by then at that time that it was a process. I had no other way but to understand why things are happening to me the way it was happening, and just to get clarity and some kind of a stability and peace, I underwent what I'm going to describe now. This is not unique, and I'm not talking something very new. It's the principles are there everywhere in ancient scriptures, in modern psychology, and in many different stories, if you want to think about it. Say Alice in Wonderland or Pinocchio, they are all good stories that guided me as well. So I put them all together as a simple, compact model to unclutter our mind, if you want to call it, or transform, and then to transcend. Just transforming alone is not enough. Transforming, in my opinion, is like rearranging the furniture, checking out the old furniture and bringing something new. But transcendence is going beyond. I talked about it in my earlier post. The link I will give it in the description box. Ultimately, the objective or the drive for me was to be at peace. Life was so challenging. I just wanted to be at peace. So, using Vedantic principle, Tao Te Ching, and many of the ancient and contemporary spiritual teachers, um, I came up with something that worked for me. So, what is IACA? IACA is an acronym for the four-step model: identification, alignment, coherence, and authenticity. So I can say in a different way, inner alignment creates authenticity. So let me unpack it step by step. Identification. Identification is any mental, emotional blockage or pain or suffering that a nagging pain, undercurrent of sadness, undercurrent of anger, dissatisfaction, frustration, or feeling that you are not living your life, you seem to be following someone else's script, or you are able to see the social, religious, familial conditioning the society expects you to perform in a particular way. The religion gives you guidelines how you should frame your life, how you should lead your life, which may or may not resonate with you. And you are kind of internally torn. You seem to be ticking all the boxes. You seem to be doing the right thing according to the society, like you are studying well, you did land on a good job, you are earning well. And, again, the social rule, you have a partner, you marry and have children. In spite of everything, doing the so called right things, you are still unhappy. Or case like me, there are so many people who have much worse life experiences than me. I should acknowledge that, and I'm appreciating the gift that I have in my life. But, constantly, despite every single effort that you make, life throws curveballs at you. No matter what, whether you do it or not do it, it's always your fault. Even after having a PhD, 4 or 5 postdoctoral degrees, I always felt I'm number in square one. Nothing gave me any financial breakthrough, any stability, any satisfaction, or, you know, nothing. Like, I was always wrong. If I do it, I was wrong. If I don't do it, I was wrong. If I say, okay, the crow is white, then also I'm wrong. And if I say, okay, rabbit has 3 legs or doesn't have 3 legs, 4 legs, whatever you say, I was always wrong. So that's when, there was a turning point. I wanted to find out why I'm always in square one. Why am I always wrong? Eventually, I found out one, the people in my life are just the reflectors. By constantly reflecting something towards me that I was wrong, they kind of made a shield around me that I couldn't go outside to the external world. I just had to go inside. And even when I went inside, I did not have any anchors. At a very young age, I rejected religion. I rejected the concept of God. And I did not have any uh, taste or knowledge, or I don't have ears for music as well. So internally also I did not have any anchors. So the choice is nothing but dive deeper into your psyche. So the first step is to identify, what am I identifying? Identify why you are angry or why you are sad. What makes you sad? What triggers your anger? It's not only one step, it's a multiple layered steps. You go through one after another. Say I identified my anger and what the triggers of my anger. It's coming from internal Velcro that's catching on to the trigger. Then I have to work out to remove the trigger. To removing is not just, mentally, intellectually discarding or ignoring or suppressing that trigger, understanding how or why the trigger came in the first place. That is the second step, alignment. So, understanding the foundation of the trigger and working on the foundation of the trigger, and integrating whatever was repressed, suppressed, or rejected into myself is the second step, alignment. And the third step is coherence. Coherence is something very similar to you have removed the triggers. So what is left? Whatever is left is feeble. It's not strong. energize the inner self and make it as your primary modality of functioning in the world. That is coherence. And the fourth step is authenticity, which means you are you are presenting yourself as an authentic self. There is no fragmentation, there is total integration, and you present as whole being. The wholeness is not just one simple effort or one simple trigger or a few different alignment process or something. The whole four-step process is cyclical. That means we go layer after layer after layer after layer. God knows how many layers are there. Um, to give anatomical analogy, or to give an anatomical framework, identification is mostly in our body where we have stored the trauma. Trauma is stored in the body. We all know that nowadays. And I have another channel where I'm just publishing a series on trauma and recovery. I'll give the link in the description box as well. So the trauma is stored in the body, mostly in the guts or on the shoulders, in your spine, sometimes in the face, knees, ankles. Different people have different trauma. Depending on the nature of the trauma, different parts of the body is affected. So identifying through the signals given by the body what is causing the pain. Physical pain, underneath the physical pain, there is an emotional pain. Underneath the emotional pain, there is a trigger. And underneath the trigger is the belief system that things, you should be in a particular way, but that's not aligned with your true self. That could be a script given by your parents or the society, conditioning, and so many other factors, which I have talked about in my trauma series. So that is identification. You can't stand the pain, the physical pain and the emotional pain. You want to find a way out. So you look into the dynamics of that. That's identification. And the alignment part is mostly to do with your spinal cord. There is a vector, for example, a straight line. That's your true self. And the different thoughts or different emotions taking you in a scattered different ways is your current reality. So alignment is bringing the thoughts and the emotions to a straight line vector. Either you bring them or you drop them, depending on the nature of the vector. Spinal cord is a anatomical reference, keeping you straight, strong, stable, kind of a reference there. And the third one, coherence, is heart-centered. Your heart knows when you are happy, when things are right, and it tells you what is that you actually want in your life? What is that makes you happy? What is that you long for, strive for? What is that you need, you want in your life? That's a heart-centered direction, heart-centered guidance. So when the alignment takes place, your heart and the mind are operating as a single vector. Mind, composed of thoughts and emotions, are aligned to your heart. So mind and the heart are in coherence to each other. And then the final factor, the authenticity, is your throat chakra, where you are able to express yourself as an authentic self. What you think, what you feel, what you talk, and what you do, all the same. Just to give an example, say for example, you are resting in one afternoon, the phone rings, you don't want to pick up the phone, but you pick it up anyway and said, "Hi, how are you? Oh, I'm fine. Oh, how is life?" You engage in conversation. But in your heart, you didn't want to pick up the phone. You didn't want to engage in that conversation. So there is a misalignment. Your heart wants something, rest, but your social courtesy or etiquette or your obligation, you pick up the phone. So that is a discord there. So those kind of discourse. It's a very simple example. It's not. It doesn't affect you in any other way or affect others in a bad way. But the simplest example that goes on to think about, at the extreme end, all the violence that you see in the world, the discord between the heart and the mind. I'll give you one more example. Being a physicist, I tend to look at it from physics perspective. Think of signal processing. We, the human beings, I would call, we are all rectangular waves. What do you mean by rectangular waves? Pure tone is one single frequency of sine wave. Infinite number of sine waves superimposed on each other, layered over each other, becomes a rectangular wave. The duty cycle is different between the rectangular wave and the square wave. But let's take as a rectangular wave for our discussion because, in proportional trough and the crust, the positive and the negative. It's not proportional. So let's call it as a rectangular wave. So we have our true nature is a pure sine wave. And many psychology and many leaders talk about love as the true nature of all of us. And love has a frequency. So let's assume there are evidences for that, but for now, let's say it's an assumption. Let's assume that our true nature is a sine wave of the frequency of love. But we are not embodied beings of love. We don't talk and act in a loving way. So there are so many layers of distortion. Um, Again, the belief systems, conditioning, blah, 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 what I talked about earlier. So we have become a rectangular wave. So the first step, identification, is sending the wave through a Fourier analysis and looking at the components of the rectangular wave. So you see all the different other frequencies superimposed on the fundamental love frequency. So that is identification. And the second step, alignment, is sending the wave through a filter, through one filter after another of different bandwidth to remove one distorted frequency after another. Keep filtering through different filters until you arrive at the single pure sine wave. That is second step. And the third step, coherence, is you have the fundamental fine frequency, but it is very feeble. So you have to amplify it, know that that's your true essence and give its nurturing thing to make it as your primary way of functioning. That is coherence. And the fourth step, authenticity, is broadcasting the pure tone, single frequency of love. So whatever way look at it, IACA, identification, alignment, coherence, and authenticity, is a complete loop. You go over cycle after cycle after cycle until you reach to your pure essence. So, in other words, you gather data. If you have any trigger, any anger, any outburst, any pain, take it out and say, put it on the table. Collect all the data together and look at it. Which fits the jigsaw puzzle of love and which doesn't. Gather. And then purify. Remove all the pieces that doesn't fit in. Only collect the pieces that represents you, that resonates with you. And put the puzzle pieces together, coherence, and then broadcasting. That there you go, your true, authentic self, expressing itself in an authentic way. You think, feel, speak, and act in a coherent way. There is no discord between your thinking, your feeling, what you speak, and what you do. You reach a 0 point field. People use the word 0 point field nowadays in so many different contexts, but the context what I'm using the word is to a place where nothing exists because you have removed all the noise. So the only thing that's left is your pure essence. We may or may not reach 100% pure tone. Maybe 10% of noise could be there. I don't know. I'm just hypothetically speaking. But the majority of you is your pure essence. From this place, you act in a spontaneous manner. There is no thinking, planning, um, anything of those things required. Yes, you do have to plan. If you have to fly, you may have to book your flight tickets. If you want to stock up your pantry or stock up your fridge, yes, you are planning when you go to the supermarket. That level of planning is different, that logistics that you have to do to run your life. But in general, life itself is spontaneous flow. A spark, a thought comes, okay, go to the supermarket, for example, or go turn left, turn right. You just follow the direction. Life takes you where it needs you to go. You are where you are in a given moment, at the right time, at the right place. And everything happens for you is for good. There is no mistake in that or acting from that place, performing or functioning from that place. And the undercurrent is peace. At sometimes, it varies. You can have joy. Sometimes, you are very happy for no reason. Sometimes, it's a mild joy. Sometimes it's just calm, quiet, peaceful state. And when you are here, if you have any disturbing emotions that arise in you, only from here you can see those emotions as guests. There is a famous poem by Rumi calling all the emotions as guests who are coming to his body, his space, and he called them the guest house. Welcome. Any emotion you want to, if you are knocking at my door, welcome. Come and have a seat. What message do you have? What am I supposed to learn? What am I supposed to do? Yes, I understand. Thank you. Only when you are in that 0 point field where you have removed all the noise, then you are able to see any emotion that's arising as a guest, as a messenger, as someone who has some message, something for you to look at, something for you to act upon. That's the place what I call a 0 point field. And you are in that place when all the noise is removed. And that's beautiful. It's extremely beautiful. It's a long process. It may be long or not, depending on your soul contract. In Indian language, we call as the prarabdha karma, how much you have in this lifetime to learn, depending on your soul contract. It may be a quick process, it may be not, but it's a finite process. Even though it's cyclical, it seems to go endlessly. There is a point when the scale tips and you start feeling the peace as the undercurrent of your life. If what I'm describing resonates with you, if you want to connect with me to explore your own cyclical path and explore IACA for you, identification, alignment, coherence, and authenticity for you, my contact detail is in the description box. Thank you. Welcome to the baseline.